I've just.
Okay. We are going to. Why?
I'm here, sir. I just thank you for.
I am with BB.
I remember you. I remember you quite well. Okay, no, it's okay. Let's start with the meeting.
Chair.
I think it is the players who are supposed to be part of start with the meeting. Let may I also take of Copter in the Free State. I'm also taking this opportunity, my Metsimaholo part and in relation issues that we wanted to clarify. Is holding of the constitution in the Metsimaholo in those municipalities. We need to go in KZN says it is quite instances you may note in the program. We have Manguang, Metsimaholo. This meeting is scheduled for 3 hours, and given the nature of the problem that I obtained, I just made some few consultations to simply interact with the issues. Executive honorable an overview to an hour for each. We will allocate it for about 50 questions and interactions from members. I've already arranged with the ministry so that we have more time for members. Allow the MEC to sketch to us briefly what is whether there are improvements, and we have a sense about what is particularly the non-payment of the viability at that particular level. But for now, as I indicated, heartily welcomed, are working very, very hard. 3 other components, voluminous tests, their job viability in depth. Over to you, municipalities, and what is about each municipality. So that
thanks, Chairperson, Honorable Sandlan, ESCOM, as per extend also their two members of the SAN. Constitutional, procedural, and substantive matters. Subsection 1. Honorable Chairperson, Council, Mayor, Municipality of managers directly accountable. Election in 2017, Communities Director for Community Services, Director for Cooperative. And to make matters, the municipalities, some of them acting as municipal manager, meaning this policy on acting appointments by as a municipal manager of the Constitution, and at least including municipal. When we send an official to the municipality, his work wanted the abnormal office, even going to court for a period of at least just 2019. The executive, but to invoke Section 1 meeting on the 11th of February. The same day, I went there with the team. Communication to the different stakeholders. Such a decision was made. I must also indicate 23rd of March to us. The section 139 that there is a matter before the courts that will be listened on the 18th of June, where they are contesting the invocation of 139. Honorable Chairperson, the HOD, Mr. Mukiti Duma, to make some detailed presentation and summary, especially around Manguang and the Metsimaholo. We did make, if you allow me, Chairperson, I want to, with your indulgence, I want to request a summarized version of the 2 other municipalities. Thank you, Chairperson.
Yes. And the background that we are sketching now is from 2017.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. I really have to repeat what the MEC has already said. But if you look at our now, what is the process? Council meetings that collapse, financial management and accounting.
Wait a second. Just wait a second. Yes. Okay, thanks. Go on, please. Sorry for that.
No, thanks, Chairperson.
Mr. Duma.
Chair.
Yes.
Can you hear me? From where? Indicating the structure of our presentation, all the areas, but just to indicate that the municipality, and it was further dissolved, and there was no outright party that won as the leader of the coalition. Now, that is the backlash issues relating to governance, which is been riddled with various governance, Financial 139, 1B. Council meetings were convened. IDP process plan was not adopted in the following day on the 1st of August. Another continuation of the meeting of the 25th September, which also could not finish the bolt on the 10th of October 2019. Now, all these bouquet of things are to implement or in section 139. After the local government elections, the new council was appointed. It actually placed him on a suspension. And ever since he's been on a suspension, there have been, up and down of court processes. Who will provide services.
Please, this is an important meeting, a meeting of parliament, more especially when we're dealing with such important matters. Can you just mute we are going to experience what we expect the department. Who must unmute their...
Transfer interns were not appointed in the municipality. Posts were advertised in terms of slides that we are reflecting on. When the vacancy appeared, when were those posts advertised? Interviews were... What is of more concern to us, not a field. You could see there in terms of the slide, when the vacancies actually occurred, and then the various, in terms of the progress, they are there. The next slide, there was still a struggle to appoint. There's still an echo that comes, and it's disturbing my presentation. I'm not sure if there's anyone who still has not muted.
Just a bit. We are investigating who is involved. I'm going to order that this person be removed from the Duma. We have discussed most of the issue. Just give us the totality of, again, we have read the presentation like you doing. There's going to be ESCOM people to talk about Metsimaholo. Thank you.
No, thanks, Chair. Mrs. Ramova, that she actually brought to our attention. But because before our intervention, after the speaker had closed the meeting, officially deliberately violated and defied the decision of the Executive Council to intervene, and in that process, they appointed other new members to act in those positions were issued by the minister. You would recall that the Regulation 17 of 2017 were nullified by the Constitutional Court, and in the process, as a way of trying to come up with, and then the councillors are not taking kind to our intervention in the municipality. They are not cooperating with the team that we have actually sent there. And there's currently court processes. We went to court where we expect to try and assist and support the municipality. Which accord certain powers to the MEC is that the lesser the councillors recognize the team that we have sent there, the problem that we are going to encounter. As we speak, the team that we have actually sent to the ministry, things that need council decision, we will we'll have to look at the alternative 1C, where the entire council will have to be dissolved. We are mindful not to follow that, Chairperson, because we are just on the eve of going for a local government election. It might not be a wise way. I want to end my my story, Chair. Thanks.
Tell us, when did you go there?
My name is Tebogo Manele.
Yes, you are.
With the presentations made by Bobby as an active municipal manager for Coorp. And then when the decision was taken, I was local municipality. As chair, there are a number of improvements or the intervention first of all, the issue salary. Over and above that, middle managers. So we therefore would want the pension, and also must tell with quarterly report. A quarterly report, the terms of reference must also reflect.
Executive Mayor.
My name is Lindy Weshongwe, and
the HOD. When the crisis of MEC sent a team to the municipality, indicate that we were reporting letters we have been sending in 2019. When we said the MEC, we have, as the municipality, the council have considered the report of the council has rejected things from the MEC, was able to respond and send the secondment. It was unfortunate that when the MEC tried to assist the municipality, there has been some disruptions in parties, but some of the political party municipality with the support which was granted to us in November. But as it has been indicated, the council has rejected the intervention of the MEC, has also assisted a lot to that the councillors do not agree with both. Although as the league, we have been comfortable with to see that we are rendering service. That is where
there is an important matter that I think the municipality must have. Section 139.
Chairperson, I do understand the team with both the administrator, which means some of the power administrator and but the budget, the council.
Okay, no, it's okay. The situation.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and the honourable members. There are no issues with ESCOM.
Honourable members, I reserve municipalities properly. Over.
Honourable Chair.
Silegu Chair, before Mr.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, let me first thank the presenters, the MEC, the mayor, to notice the MIG again spending that they do. They have spent only PMU procurement processing recently, Chair, that the challenges. You are correct. Well, interference of Abraham Resort. So now they are on qualification. The mayor as well as that have been identified. The last two are 1.6 million.
Wonderful.
I'm going to start with 3 questions from my side as well. Now, the department mentions in their presentation most financially stable in 30 days. So finances, municipal meetings, council are stable as a municipality. Yeah, then you are everything but stable. Times that the municipal council meetings to collapse the council meetings so the decisions can't. Is I would like to have an indication has had over the last 2 years, and at some stage they had as many as 3. Acting administrator, if it is the same in the office of the MM of a municipality. I will pause there for now. Thanks, Chair.
All right. Honourable Officer.
Appointed acting MM 39 administration. Do you know that this is irregular? My second question is, who paid the salaries of persons sent to the municipality to assist between these salaries? Has criminal action don't need to wait for investigation taking so long? And
And Madam Mayor, the whole department will help me to get an answer. According to the report, it tells me that most of the meetings that were disrupted in the municipality, they don't come, they disrupt the meetings. And these councillors, as to, according to the law, what have it done that leaders, some leaders, they welcome, that means councillors, to stop that.
Chairperson.
Who's that?
Chair, I couldn't.
On the queue, I'll note. Honourable Silebu.
I'm glad that the mayor actually agrees that there is politically. So when and how has the Cooperative? And my second one is that has the province not positions if they were actually in position?
Okay.
I am covered to a large extent on governance.
Thanks.
Unauthorized. For the Section 1 support was actually given to the municipality. The vacancies, while we appreciate acknowledges. And my final question to the MEC also, Section 1391, actually go to court. Yeah, thanks, Chair.
No, the inverse of the problem actually is one. The problems are actually, why can't he
Over to you. No. Oh, by the way, Honorable Musafa.
Do you know that we...
Honorable Enoch Mutatwa, you read a letter.
Tula Peramtsamai. Honorable Chair, thanks for the platform. Do you think MEC this immune? If yes, how long of the administration see municipality, particularly the intervention of the department? Who?
Okay.
Say the municipality is functioning, but we know that as a I think
this municipality, it was dissolved. Same problems are recurring, neglecting service delivery, and dissolve this municipality. Yes. Now, as this, just because the elections are closed, themselves in the situation where you are saying to this committee, respond to those issues.
Members, for the questions. I'm going to request the team inputs when they were made. Chairman not get them clear, but I believe all of them they may of Parliament. Chair, if I may, and with you, our aim was that we must find it even individual political Metsimaholo, and they agreed to come and work with us. That's why after a lot in October, where I went to an movement in that area, we're convinced people we are not here for ourselves. So that is the spirit with which Chair Committee feels strongly that assumption of the team CF request to the committee feels that we should have gone the dissolution way rather than this one of trying to make them functional and then go directly focus on services and help our people. Issue is that we wanted to get the municipality coupled with the one that says, do you think there we have a responsibility of ensuring that we have people immediately, they must find a way to immediate effect because then things will change for the better. Operators employed from the COCTA, the one taking in case, and in this instance, also with the into the people that are deployed there. All of them are paid by COCTA provincial, even though we were allowed by law to say the receiving municipality must be the one that is incurring the cost to get the money. The first question, explain the and the CFO were not, is it honorable? And we are not saying they are an issue in our. There's a lot of expenditure in terms of the audit opinion is the ability to control mechanisms to generate income for the money. The functionality is the issue. And that's why it was necessary for us to find a way to help the municipality. There were many that in the case of managers, they did that. Even that is the situation that we were initials of he's got qualification. I think that one is very charges to Malala. The former warning that are going on. Part of the financial welfare report to move forward, but staying at home. They must resolve that issue. The speaker had to act MFMA for councillors court is because after municipality under admin and they took decisions contrary to the act as the and when action to try to get a final report, the team will attend. When was it instituted? If it was an indulgence to allow the HOD and the team to respond. I've replied on the how to deal with the vacancies. We have currently assumed with this shortlisted position team to respond.
No, I'm not allowing them with the issues that we've not covered.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. You're able to his statement. It started with the interest that was shown because of not having the municipal manager and the directors. So how many municipal managers did we have? Marie and okay, that where challenge started, actually, it also started with the very same acting managers, particularly as the report of the, as it has been, all the acting managers appointed for the period until the 9th of October, 20 manager who was appointed for clearly that you are appointed for 3 months. It has been very clear that the appointment was only for 3 months. But what has been happening, that is why on the 9th of July, we wrote to what has been happening is that it's between the officials, when the other group is in, go to an extent of realize that no, it cannot continue, and let's request the MC to take us through the process. We cannot have it in terms of our code of deliberately disrupt the council has been deliberately closed a chance even to go.
Okay, we understand your problems. Please don't. The chairperson 91B. We would have gone long time ago to Metsimaholo to miss. We will seek a permission of the day. We are going to have to take a decision whether we have heard that we are honorable members. I suggest that we have heard we go to Manguang and invite the report. Just go to the issues a bit, because we need to also give Manguang executive mayor the opportunity to address this meeting. Please. Thank you. Over to you, Honorable MEC.
Chair, thanks very much, Chairperson. Thank you. I'm saying Chair Manguang and C, where they raised a number of issues. Amongst others was the inability of Manguang to spend properly work of war, including court cases between Bloem Water and the municipality. And they also received, they were downgraded by the Moodley, were bankrupt in terms of the downgrade. And they could not, on the project that were assigned to them, they could not cash back what they call as the overtime claim, which was too huge and was subsequently accounts directly to National Treasury in terms of the finance, have been part of Manguang, and they've developed a turnaround strategy, which Manguang did that on their own without using a consultant. But even that turnaround strategy, Manguang on its own was continually ignored, especially administration is displaying a level of arrogance and not adhering to the law as it is required. So it was no longer reporting properly to the National Treasury. And then subsequent to that, then we were advised to put Manguang under administration. The presentation, they've given you all the details. It is led by Advocate Muzwake, and there's been stability ever since the team was deployed, and the team has been able to pay even creditors of the municipality. They were even able to pay workers monthly. There were stages where workers were not even paid their salaries, and they've set general services to the people. You would know that forever Manguang, there was a problem of non-collection of refuse, and it was dirty. HOD. Oh, can I see?
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. I think the MEC has covered briefly what is actually happening at Manguang. They voluntarily requested National Treasury to assist there and suggested that the Premier B or C, because cover the plan. So the Executive Council then, as we speak now, things are shaping quite well. The downgrade of the Manguang Metro by Moody, but the payment of the banks that were owed by the municipality, Standard Bank and them, including dealing with the debt of Bloem Water, even still lacking behind its service delivery, which the war room of this month, where we're going to check progress, the financial intervention.
Over to you, Executive Mayor.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson.
You try to rectify that, please.
Okay, thank the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee. Chairperson, when we came here in Manguang, this new council, we found that from 2014 the number of service delivery canceled, but the that there were a number of projects that when dropped the bond, they didn't drop the project, and why they are not given services. That the municipality was not spending. Then the grants were also the money were important grants. They are the very two ones. It in that we are now at grant also. It was utilized for salaries, and then accordingly, Chairperson, budgets that were done, they were unfunded budgets. We were overestimating, not forgetting that we do have a dispute with Bloom Water. Remember, honorable members, Bloom Water was overcharging us, especially when it comes to charging us on and put a dispute on the charges on the drought to say we have these disputes. The matter of must for us to settle for the consumption of the water. That is what led to where the MEC is saying now that we are settling our must pay for the water consumed. When with regard to downgrading, it was not a very pleasing situation, but we are stabilizing. We managed even to pay for 2 months without the equitable share. We upped our collection rate. We were just disturbed. We did receive the number one against how.
Mayor, honorable Mayor, please don't compare municipalities. Talk about your municipality.
Sorry, Chairperson, I withdraw. Chairperson, I withdraw. Time management, as it has been said by the MEC. It was correct because we found that overtime was not properly managed. Being a report to a policy to council, we are reviewing the overtime that they are going only to be alleging times, pressing times. There must be a pre-approved approval for that overtime. Chairperson, as I came in, I found financial recovery plan. Chairperson, we never appointed a consultant. Cooperative. They sat down as officials, then they came up with a document. The only challenge is that it was not adequately by the administration. There is that service delivery war room. The next one is sitting on the 7th to look into implementation of financial recovery plan because we are reporting every month to National Treasury. The council, it was acknowledged by council. We waited for terms of reference because as the MEC have already said, there were tensions, there is discomfort. But at the moment, I'm meeting with them every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I meet with administrators and the city manager, and we are servicing rates of us not paying. But truly speaking, we have never had any month, Honorable Chair and members, without paying salaries. We are not owing the third parties because that.
Just summarize.
Okay.
I understand.
All right.
Yeah.
And then it's true, the sector also came and we were joined by a yellow fleet. Very much, Chair and honorable members.
Measures 1395 invoked in. This is the report about Manguang.
With Manguang,
their areas.
With that amount. But Chair, what I wanted to also indicate is the 22nd of May and of July 2020, servicing their full current.
Two. Any? Zandamela.
Yes.
Is that Zandamela? Yes, 5. I close at 5.
And Chairperson, I'm going to start with a comment that not being delivered. We have a deficit of leaders to make sure that municipal services are not delivered. And if they don't get delivered, it stops at your door. It's as simple as that. Now, you also indicated that to actually implement your own recovery plan. My next question to you is, Section 87 of the MFMA requires Setlmnt to every year council. This was not in budget, that you actually contribute for overtime. Again, how can you say that with these two questions is that your budget is silent? According to my information, it is silent on your financial recovery plan, and it's silent on your budget. Indicate to us why your budget is silent on these fundamentally. I personally thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. A recovery plan and long available for us to see as went up from 24% to people that were appointed to the MEC is the over the time administration. Why?
Rita?
Thanks, Chair. Chair, I want to touch on the issue of the budget because the previous service delivery, because in the refuge war room, because it's indicating to us that they are having in terms of service delivery, the municipality on that matter. There are no regular reports that are being by the office.
Chair, I did listen to what Eskom mentioned in terms of the debt. We didn't hear properly before the intervention and currently how much is owed. And the second one, Chair, is that, you know, National Treasury is putting a lot of emphasis in terms of containment. So it's about cost control. Please, Chair, these are cut and the government pay as much as we are planning to citizens and businesses who are already suffering under COVID-19. And Chair, lastly, I would agree with my colleague, you know, Honorable Mikalakis. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Honorable.
Chair, just two things. I just want to raise one thing that actually disturbs me. It's that the MEC doesn't know, as I did, what is happening in her unit. On an agent oversight, as per the new regulation, to monitor it, because we seem.
Question. Chairperson.
Honorable Said.
Yeah, my apologies, man. I tend to lose. I'm unable to unmute at times, and I don't know why. But I just have one question, Chair. It's just in terms of before the Section 1395 intervention, it also indicated that the national team was actually for the turnaround strategy. Any consequences?
Right. Thank you very much, Honorable Sheikh. Let me see if I understand correctly. 9.5 of the Constitution around December last year. And in terms of the Constitution, provisions of the Constitution about this, from the NCOP of the Constitution about this intervention to the NCOP, by the chairperson about this intervention, there is no record or evidence that is available in the NCOP about the fact that this particular section was invoked and accordingly the NCOP was notified. And if that is the case, it means that we have plunged this municipality repute. I want you to talk to this particular issue because measure be invoked by the requires you that you can only intervene when this municipality is facing financial crisis or it cannot fulfill or meet before we proceed forward.
Thanks, Chair. If you allow me, I would request that the team must respond first. I'll respond late on the latter issue to consider the letter from National Treasury and took the decision to agree with National Treasury in the invocation of Section 1395 A and C. And on the 24th of December, the same year 2019, Council unanimously approved that decision. So I would quickly come back to you with the records in terms of what you are raising, Chair, which I agree. Turnaround strategy. They did also develop the turnaround strategy on their own, and under the supervision of a municipality that does not account to us on finances. So in essence, the majority of the issues that relate working closely with the National Treasury. I don't think it's true that I didn't know why was there a downgrade. It is also part of the report that we have sent. It's part of the communication that was done, ability to fulfill it, because that report, as it was released by Mutli, it alluded to those issues that it seems that the municipality is under dire financial issue sufficiently on my end. There are packages arranged by national departments to attend to various fields. Farms and farmers have got their own, small businesses have got their own, and various other even arts and culture people have got their own. But on COVID-19 shortfalls, but municipalities to implement we could not, despite that municipalities were still expected to provide uninterrupted water supply, uninterrupted electricity supply, and attend to sanitation, even though there were no revenue interventions to that effect. So the people of the President Ramaphosa to respond to the debt of the provincial government, province does not owe Manguang 1.6 billion, but it is a consolidated debt with national department arrangement and their pay. What the executive further said is that we must impress to national to pay municipality so that they alleviate the level at which municipalities are providing services, but they are unable to raise revenue that will then be paying to other people. Thank you, Chair. I would quickly come to you just on the last item. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much, Chapalagis. When you said that, why I don't understand, I think Honorable Member did not understand me well. I said, Honorable Chairperson, there was a bond of 5 billion and there were projects attached to 5 billion. But when the 5 billion bond was dropped, the project was still sustained. So and then the people will not understand. I could not understand the 5 billion bond, which was attached to the project when the 5 billion bond was dropped and then the project sustained. That is why we in the city. Coming, Chairperson, to Setlmnt, the budget, the draft budget of Setlmnt, the board is sitting on Monday. They were supposed to be sit to council that is sitting before the end of % shareholder. There is no way that they can be 100% independent, Chairperson. So, Honorable Member also referred to meeting it to council, and therefore that by COVID-19 regulations from USDG as well as IPTN. And the IPTN is that in public transport network. So we have submitted that to national departments, and we have received also even reporting in provincial council, and we were even visited by President last week. Honorable Chairperson, when it comes to in a war room to check that how far all at all, even the MEC said we are implementing it. That is why the administrators, they are not establishing or developing a new financial recovery plan. We are improving the one plan. And Honorable Mason, when it comes to our salary bill, our norm is 30%, but we are at 27%. But I just want to say, we also even went to local government SETA. We'll be starting with Metropolitan. Honorable Chair, I'm coming now to service delivery. Honorable member is requesting the program. We do have a program that the city is clean. We know that most of the time, the informal traders, Honorable Chair, they are also increasing a problem of refuse collection. So what we have done with the certificates, we also allocated each space to be congested. But I even receive support from the I think I don't think honorable member heard well from the MEC. MEC did not say we don't delay. And I think it is 2 years, but I'm very strict now on that. I'm also strict on over budgeting. I'm also strict on committing monies, the budget that is not available, because that is what is remind the committee.
Honorable Major, ESCOM is covered. You are paying your
okay,
area,
okay,
servicing it.
okay, okay, Chairperson. Blue water, I'm covered, but what the MEC was saying, but Chairperson, it's still a problem that they are helping us.
No, it's covered. It's covered.
Can I request, can Chairperson, with due respect, that the administrator can make.
Is administrator, over to you. If there's any specific.
Thank you, Chairperson, that we are operating the salary hike of 24 in place when we came in, but we have since scaled down the salary bid. We have scaled it down because we have actually cut some of the acting allowances. You know, we have cut it by almost 4 to 3 million every month. And on the issue of government debt, we are receiving April, May, so to say. So we are definitely moving what Chairperson. Then lastly, regarding the Moody's, what do you call? Moody's has given us a stable outlook. Remember, Manguang was downgraded twice, but we managed to get out of those two. Municipal manager who has been there, who is still there, who is really not giving us a real good cooperation as intervention team. That is my only problem.
To summarize now.
No, Chair, I will praise the letters. What happened? Thank you.
Yeah, all that I'm saying is that just in giving a preliminary summary on the initial government was instructed by National Treasury that there is a crisis in Manguang that warranted an intervention. And you were ordered as the provincial government to intervene because of the crisis that was in Manguang. And for us, Manguang is very much important. It is the only metropolitan municipality in the Free State. But it is also political significance in the history of this country. It will be very, very worrisome that the situation turn out to be the way they are turning out. From the NCOP, this, unless I'm convinced otherwise, this intervention is null and void. It is a fruitless expenditure. Assume that there is no administration, there is no intervention, and what the performance properly, whether it will follow the procedure. I must also hasten to say, the role of this committee is very much important because it is a committee that ultimately records the reputation of this committee that becomes in disrepute because we ourselves who are not seen to be observing and following the Constitution and all other laws. And I'm sure it's supposed to be followed, and I'm sure you know about what is happening in each and every municipality. That is why I said all these things about Metsimaholo in terms of us making a follow-up, ensuring that we do our oversight visit, and ensuring that at the end of the day, we advise the House accordingly. On that note, I think we must be done with Manguang and take the last presentation from just this year, municipality around our administrator. I see that there is a new team And with all the information at our disposal, it seems as if things are getting worse. Even before us, to take us through what are the real problems, Honorable MEC, take us, made the presentation, and that too, we have received the reports from the presentation about Maluti-A-Phofung.
Very much, Chair. I appreciate that the report of Maluti will be discussed the second time. I take it you expect me just to give you heads up on the latest information. Let me kickstart by he resigned sort of for being an administrator, and Mr. Amos Goliath then took over from Mr. Fatula. Mr. Amos Goliath was working closely with the team, so he was well vested with when the municipality was in tune. Having said that, I would also maybe express a slightly different opinion, Chairperson, from where, which I would not go. The financial standing of the municipality is improving very well. We've filled up vacancies of the MM and the CFO. We are waiting a technical director positions to be filled. We have the workers there, and these are beginning to shape up. The continuous, on numerous occasions, explain, and we did also explain these problems in the municipality. They have started collecting refuse sequence, but they are regularly collecting refuse. They are even patching the roads. They are improving the roads in place. In terms of governance, they are fine. Activities are taking place as expected. So I come from a point where and their main problem with Eskom, other than owing Eskom close to 4 or 5 billion rands, is that their NMD is very low, and it does not cater for the community. And now and again, they must switch off just to manage the power. All the people concerned, the MM, we must find everything, every money possible to pay Eskom. To an extent that the executive, the provincial executive committee, under the municipality in paying Eskom, especially around to mitigate on this issue, went to an extent of procuring additional transformers so that they replaced transformers as an power users which were given to Eskom to audit and subsequently collect from. The ones that they've audited, which were supposed to pay, are not paying regular. So that is connections in that municipality. But also we are hopeful that the process undertook by the SIU, but beside that, the efforts that are made by the current MCFO and the team are to undermine that weakness and find a way to give uninterrupted supply of electricity. Gave the municipality to water reticulation and defects on the pipes and the water treatment plants, and the other difference, the 2 billion was meant to, which in essence is of tankers and water tanks that were dark. And but you would remember at the time when we were at the select committee, the Fikapatso dam was closed, which is their biggest dam. But subsequent to that, the dam level increased to 40. The Premier and myself went to open the dam, and people were able to get water from the taps. And the result of aging infrastructure and many of the past pipes. But 7, and all of the 7 are not working. There's only one that is partially working, which is in Harrismith. So those are the service. In some instances, people were given incorrect bills, so they are reworked so that they increase the revenue. And the speaker, to be specific, which we had end way now, at least, because we explained to them that this, I'm at a point where, Chairperson, honestly speaking, feeling that this intervention has worked and we've reached our sell-by date. We must allow the municipality to.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair, honorable members, MEC and mayors and colleagues. The committee has received my report. I will see me.
Yes, just unlock the.
I submitted my report, but I was appointed as on the 1st of April, and at the meeting, the MEC indicated in the presence of my predecessor and the former acting MM and acting CFO, Mr. Mopelwa and Mahuma, that they would stay as support members of the team. But I subsequently had resistance from the and assumed responsibility on the 27th without informing my predecessor, Blake Mosley-Lefatula. In terms of his terms of reference, he had to ratify all resolutions of council. So I had to wait for him to ratify the MM and the CFO. I also provided them with copies of the appointment letters. I had several altercations with the Troika, who demanded that Mr. Mopelwa and Mr. Mahuma leave the premises of the municipality with immediate effect. The MEC made an attempt to intervene to deal with the tension, but later he indicated to us that Mr. Mopelwa and Mahuma must leave the municipality. Me, Chair, that the MM and the CFO decisions in isolation without stating that managers and some of the shop stewards who have been disruptive at the work. I was also called to a meeting by the chief whip in the office of the mayor, and at that meeting, the legitimacy of Section 139 was questioned. My legitimacy as an administrator was questioned, and the interpretation of the Troika was that the MM had also at one occasion indicated that the terms of reference of the administrator are not legal, as it encroaches on. There was a heated debate that ensued. They were later the Troika indicated to the political leadership that I saw at them, but I was trying to run a parallel administration in the municipality. So when I realized that all my efforts to explain to sort that matter out with the MEC, upon which they felt that was arrogant of me, I then left the meeting. We agreed that we cannot agree on the interpretation of 1391B, and municipality is building by the speaker and the chief whip being assisted by some of the security staff of the municipality. In the meantime of March, the then acting CFO received a call from the bank that there were people at the bank who were claiming to represent the municipality and who insisted that the signatories to the bank account of the municipality must be changed. I subsequently, as the administrator, wrote to the bank and asked them to and then when Blake Lefatula was the administrator, and for the sake of financial control, they have been signatories to the bank account. So I subsequently I also indicated to the bank that I would be a signatory with the municipal manager, as that was also reflected in the terms of reference of the joint intervention team. Escalated to a new chair when I explicitly indicated in my appointment letters and in the contracts to the MM and the CFO what their salaries would be. But on the day when salaries were paid and the badge came to me to approve by the bank, I noticed nobody interacted with me as administrator about it. And I'm still not sure. I have no documents that indicate who approved the increase of their salaries from the salaries that were stated on their appointment letters. I subsequently informed the MEC, informed from his concern, the service level agreement was signed on the 19th of May, and this enabled Eskom to start completing the installation of the new meters that we requested them to to replace. Our service level agreement with Citibank Water is as yet not in place with them, and we are awaiting a draft service level agreement that the municipality can look at and sign. As I said before, to extend that when I had to complete the recovery action plan, which was part of the turnaround strategy of the joint intervention team, and that was also a result of refused to provide me with information on the finances for the municipality in April, and subsequently my report for April, I could not provide any information regarding the financials. I have provided a committee with a copy of the recovery plan. We had a strategic session which was just reinstated by the new municipality. As far as our institutional capacity is concerned, we are happy to report for Setlmnt, which we did not have before. Our revenue is dropping, has dropped in the month of March. I mean, in the month of we have done 60 million the previous month of April and in a lockdown. Chair, we have also now assumptions with my predecessors on what what income we will derive if we cooperate with Eskom to replace the meters of the 1,800 large power users. And the assumptions was based on the fact that the first 14 meters that they replaced, from that the municipality derived a revenue of them will give us an average revenue of 3 million, which might be overestimated, and we will revisit it once Eskom has installed their first 100, because at the time this report was generated, it was only by November 2020, the municipality will be able to collect 128 million just from the large power users. And by the end of June 2021, we'll be able to collect by the DBSA, National Treasury, and COCTA. But it's municipalities who don't have capital available, the infrastructure that the MEC referred to now, the waste treatment plants, and increasing the capacity of our water treatment plants, so that we alleviate the pressure from the Fikapatso dam and lessen the reliance of Tradtnal on Fikapatso only. But things, as I said, Chair, we managed to have our first management meeting just Wednesday on the 10th, and I must say, Chair, is the uninterrupted delivery of potable water. It's not, we don't have it as yet. Our electricity disruptions, the servicing the Eskom debt, the cash flow of that, if we don't live up to the settlement agreement in court of 2018, that in terms of that they can apply to the court to issue a municipality. The other one is we were in the for not managing our NMD. Why we are not able to manage our NMD is because more than 70% of our prepaid customers do not buy electricity. It means they have bypassed their meters, and as a result, we exceed our notified maximum demand and put pressure on the infrastructure on our own infrastructure and on the infrastructure of Eskom, and then they have to disconnect us. The matter has been remanded until next week, Friday, the 19th of June, and we have to file paper to strip the municipality of its electricity license because of the unreliability of the municipality's supply of electricity. Chair, if this 139 1B intervention is to be continued in Maluti-A-Phofung, I think this council will also have to express itself on clarify the role of a section 1391B intervention in a municipality administrator, and there's also a legal opinion 1B intervention.
Okay. Your report is totally different from the report of the Honorable MEC, but we'll come to that. The mayor must, in the meantime, just request the technical people in the House to give us additional 15 minutes, so that if we go beyond 6 o'clock, we must summarize in 15 minutes. Of map, the mayor is critical. It's important that
Chair, is the MEC, can I make a request?
Who's that? Or is the administrator?
The MEC.
Yes.
Is the MEC, can I make a request? Thank you, Chair. I wanted to request, I omitted to request that the HOD can speak on.
It's not a question of being happy. Let me just, this committee in May, we were deeply, deeply worried about Maluti-A-Phofung. And as the committee, we resolved that we were to go to lockdowns and everything else. That happened subsequent to that. And just based on what you are saying and the administrator is saying, and that on an urgency basis, we must go to Maluti-A-Phofung. I'm not sure I will be guided by members, but I think just listening to all that you are presenting now, there is a strong case be undertaken urgently by this committee to go and deal with this particular issue and not spend one day, maybe 2 days or so, just reflecting on this particular issue. But I will hear from the committee. I wanted the mayor to just speak so that we also give ESCOM to speak before I afford members to engage with all
due respect. May I just say something before the rest of other honorable members? I wanted to indicate that on the issue of Manguang, I must indicate, Chair, that what has caused confusion, like it has been indicated under Manguang and is the same with Maluti-A-Phofung, it's the terms of reference for administrator. If it was during your meeting or the meeting of, in fact, it was during the meeting of the of SCOPA, where SCOPA resolved that COPTA must actually assist provinces by drafting the generic for administrators and EXCO representatives. However, Chair, after we have done that, the state law advisors indicated to us that the terms of reference, some of the issues we have indicated are not consistent with the Constitution, including the MFMA. And they gave us the cases that were decided before. That is why we then wrote to all the municipalities that were in the process of reviewing the terms of reference of all the administrators so that we could present them. And then those are the only ones that must be followed once the Executive Council has resolved. You may be aware that in Gauteng, they are still using a similar template in the one for CDB, which also talks about the similar things that were done previously. And like I'm saying, the issue in relation to the co-signatory in the responsibility of being a signatory in the banking account solely to the municipal manager. And now, because council is not dissolved, there's no way that the administrator will account. The only thing that must happen is that they must come up with mechanism to monitor the expenditure, and that is what we wanted to clarify. It's not that we initiated it.
And there are more bigger issues than our members have reflected on this. Well, where is the mayor? The mayor is still not. We were in parliament. There was no political leadership from Maluti-A-Phofung.
Chair.
Hello, who's that?
Is the mayor of Maluti-A-Phofung?
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, the leadership. Me as the mayor of the Maluti-A-Phofung, what I know, I will align myself with the report of the MEC. Nothing else.
Okay. Okay. ESCOM.
Thank you, Chair. I have submitted a presentation. I am not going to go through the full presentation, Chair, if you'll allow me to go through to the key messages that I would like to cover, but the presentation has been submitted.
Yes, my proposal is to 9 billion of all the Free State municipalities. Maluti alone was owing you 5 billion rands. Start it from there and move forward.
Thank you. In terms of the municipal debt for ESCOM, and in our top 20, ESCOM's top 27 of the municipalities are in the Free State. Maluti-A-Phofung being number 1. Chair?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm saying top 20 in the whole country.
Top 20 in the whole country. 7 of those are in the 8 billion owed by the top 20 in terms of the total debt. Maluti-A-Phofung is number 1 of that pack, currently sitting at 5.2 billion. In our last report, there were a couple of things that we had highlighted, Chair, that one, they were not paying their full current account. And secondly, that we do have customers as per the court order that are paying Eskom directly. We have also signed, as also indicated, 100 meters of the large power users. To date, we've done almost 50%, 49 of the 100. And we are projecting, highlighting all the initiatives that we have attempted in assisting Maluti-A-Phofung in trying the debt increased by more than 1 billion in just over a 12-month period. We have emphasized in all our engagements, we have emphasized that priority is paying the current account, and the current account just for the May is about 72 million, excluding interest and penalties. I've indicated that we've got 12 of the customers as per the court order that are paying us directly, but we are collecting that money on their behalf, and with the 100, the intention is that we will continue in the same manner, that we will invoice, we will do the meter reading, we will invoice, and those 100 customers will pay Eskom directly. We are yet to quantify the projected amount that will contribute towards the current account. Chair, why we are doing that, it's for us to at least give them a very least they pay account, and we've also assisted the municipalities as far as their customers are concerned to promote the culture of paying for the services. We have set aside the debt, and a portion of that debt we have also suppressed. We've also gone the court route in terms of the litigation to force are also pending. In terms of we've been giving the municipality, like all other municipalities, about 30 days to do their payments. We've engaged the municipalities as part of our stakeholder partnering, and that is why the SLA is but one of the things that we are doing with the municipality. Moving on, but Chair, for the committee, I would like you to also note that despite all the things that we have done to date, unfortunately, the debt here, and it's now sitting at 5.2 billion. The overdue debt from the 3.6 in January 2019 to now the 5.2, the current consumption, which ranges from the 75 million a month. In some months, it was as high as 173. And the payments, if we even received an amount of more than or close to 10 million, it has only been in 3 occasions. And these amounts include the customers that are paying us directly. So on average, the payment that we are receiving from the municipality is in the range of 7 million against to the increase or their consumption beyond what they are contractually supposed to consume. And this, unfortunately, has that at any point in time is actually running at 140% more than what it's designed for. And that you can imagine with the overload that it is a matter of time that it will pack up. The same applies on the substations, and that's where the penalties are coming from. What we have done to try and assist the municipality was to, every time that they exceed their notified maximum demand, we give them a call with the winter that they would take at least about an hour as they exceed for them to reduce their loads. And that is why the NMD is to immediately cut off the electricity when them on again. It is not a disconnection. I really want to make it very clear. It is an interruption allowing them to manage their load. As indicated, Chair, and to the committee, if we do not do this, the Maluti-A-Phofung is at a risk of being dark, actually have a risk that the municipality we may not be able to restore or to do any repairs in their network. As a matter of fact, right now, we are not doing any repairs, and therefore, if there is any failure, we are going to have to run around and scramble for material and also to the equipment and the network more than once. We continue to engage with the municipalities, break only if they can service, they will be able to pay their full July salary to try and assist them while we are installing the meters. Fortunate Chair receiving anything more than 10 million, just over $1 million against a current account that is more than almost 100 million, including interest. If I may leave it to the Chair.
It's fine. Honourable members, over to proceed forward with regard to
Chair.
Marcus, please, Chair.
Mikalaki, Honourable Mikalaki, in that order. Honourable Mikalaki.
Thank you very, very much, Chair. Chairperson, let me start by saying to Mr. Goliath that I have huge respect for your integrity, and I had for Mr. Lefatola as well. And I take my hat off to the way in which you do your work and which you presented to our committee this evening. MEC, you indicated that you think that the municipality, if I quoted you, and if I were you, keep the municipality out of the hands of the Troika. I would, quite frankly, not even trust them for 5 minutes with their own money. So to be quite honest with you, the current administrator is doing an excellent job. Now, my big question, the first question is the one, if you remember correctly, last time when you were before us, there wasn't time to answer this question. I would like you to answer this question first. I'm going to repeat it to you. Sarah Moleleki and Vusi Chabalala have both of the Finance and Public Accounts Committee in the to date not embarked on a form of consequence management, and where investigation or forensic investigation, are you willing to embark on such a independent forensic audit? And if not, why not? Then a consultative committee was established with regards to Eskom debt. Exists of yourselves as well. Can you indicate to us what recommendation of Cooperative Department and how far you are with those recommendations, please, MEC? And then my last question, Chair, is that I believe that on the 26th of March this year, as the municipality is under administration, I would like to have your assurance that this was not done. And if it was done and it was irregularly done, then I would like to know what intervention you're going to make in that.
Honourable Professor, Honourable Tedder, sorry, please.
No, thanks, Chair. And firstly, Chair, I want to know from the Mayor, what is the source of income for this municipality? Secondly, to Eskom, I understand you mentioned there that there is a team, there are people now that are paying directly to you. Is it not also those people jeopardizing some of the effort that the municipality, maybe is it not their main source of the municipality? Those people have to a plan of a turnaround strategy to ensure that they do recover. So lastly is the indigenous issues. Do you have Eskom, the indigenous policy, like in terms of your policy, do you cater?
Honourable Professor.
Thank you, Chair. I cannot agree more with my two colleagues before me. The report said, and I quote, the request and insistence by the political leadership for payment to be made to service providers who were irregularly in conformance with the law were not well received by the political lead, with all the wrong and suspect practices of the past, and blissfully continue with the municipal mismanagement and maladministration. My next question is, it is stated that the provincial government owes the municipality. Why is the outstanding debt not paid yet? My last question is, Mr. Lefatolo's closeout report is a roadmap to recovery for the municipality. It is an excellent document, yet you did not supply the committee with this document. Does he agree with the content of this report? If he plans to implement these recommendations, receive these reports because it must be readily available. If he has no such, thank you, Chair.
Chair, are you calling me?
Yes.
My hand is up, Chair. Don't forget me.
Yeah, you'll follow Honorable Silek.
Report of the MEC, and then you hear the report of the administrator. It's two conflicting reports. And then you have the parting words. And what is also very much, painful is the fact that you find a political leader within a council, when she has to take accountability and responsibility for the municipal. I align with the position of the MEC, electricity. I hear that there is issues of nyoka people, stealing umbane and all that kind of stuff. Can the municipality, give us a report or plan going forward, and how are they going to mitigate and try to fix, people, using electricity without the issue of undate. I hear that all the decisions that he has taken as an administrator, as soon as he left, or because I thought he was promoted, because if he was promoted, every decision that he has taken was going not to be rescinded or challenged or changed, because all the decisions that he has changed was actually changed as soon as he left by the current, administration. So I don't know how does to assist that particular municipality. Because there is this body that is Troika. Troika said it doesn't want two individuals that is appointed by the MEC, this individual. Why does he do that? And for the MEC to actually say, Chair, that the municipality is ready to operate on its own, having heard from Eskom that within and is number one in terms of the Free State owing to Eskom, is it not a reckless decision for the MEC to come? We need to go to this municipality. We need to, and we don't know who to trust. Thank you very much, Chair.
All right, Honorable Zandamela.
No, thanks, Chair. I think I'm also a bit worried about some of the things that were said by the MEC and administration since 2018. I think, Chairperson, we need to look at that. Surely things are not right in that municipality. And the forensic report, and also from the MEC. And then coming to I'm going to raise it again.
Leave Honorable Zandamela.
Come again? Yeah, I started with Maluti-A-Phofung, Chairperson. Yes. Then I'm now in Manguang.
No,
then
not
again,
Manguang, we dealt with it.
Yeah, there's contradictions between the emissions that the forensic, what was raised earlier on, or what I've picked up, forth and back, Chairperson.
Right, please.
Oh, Honorable Nita, yes, Honorable Nita.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I want us to go back to the challenges in terms of the report of the MEC compensation budget, which is it's a municipality promotion and salary adjustments. But what I would like to know about these points that the MEC have listed, what is it what they are going to do with the Treasury guidelines? So I would like to, what are they going to do about those serious critical things? If
Thank you very much, honorable members. Just some few comments from me. I don't know and in distress about the development about Maluti. Firstly, my understanding is as follows, Honorable MEC. The administrator is appointed accompanying the administrator must be a test of legality. They must be lawful, they must be implemented. And given the experience of our past, it's not for the first time that Free State government appoints an administrator to a municipality with some terms of reference. Now, I don't understand for a difference with the to you, because what the administrator and why these differences and so many since the inception of this committee, the Maluti-A-Phofung municipality, the normal standards of salaries is only 30%. We were told by KwaZulu-Natal municipalities that others were only 25%. Of Maluti-A-Phofung is 68%. I've never heard such a thing in my entire career in local government. Now, Mr. Blake mostly for acknowledgement of everybody else. And my information is that he's now working in the Republic of South Africa. He composed a report, are reversed willy-nilly. And it becomes business as usual, and it is something that you do not follow up and take up and ensure that it gets corrected. He was called somewhere, people are by the bank, people were changing signatories. It's all about money. It's all about this bankrupt municipality in the Free State. It's all about money. It's all about changing signatures. West, including the CFO. And they started working, even that decision was rectified by the administrator. And all of these things are happening under your watch. I happen and support the municipality, and a municipality that is in distress, that is in a crisis, such as Maluti-A-Phofung. And why would these things happen? We paid administrators together with the team a lot of without any form of justification. People are brought back to where all these things have got to happen in the way that they are happening. 3 billion rands. Oh, that it is only paying 2 million, 5 million account. And these areas are accumulating every month, and they are just going up without any form of intervention. And this municipality, in my view, is in deep cuts, and submissions by you and the administrator. It is just so hopeless. It doesn't give hope that the situation will be arrested. There is a crisis, people are protesting. What we also know it is that because we ask what is the problem, there is a massive intervention by the hope whatsoever that the situation it is getting in terms of their approach when the Honorable MEC seeing us in the face, the kind and the nature of the problems and challenges that he's facing on a daily basis without any form of intervention. And for me, that is worrisome. Up until these particular issues are straightened up, are addressed properly, I don't see any hope for us to move forward in terms of the municipality. And if one of the recommendations that it's a dissolution of this municipality, so be it, because we cannot allow that situation. And a municipality such as this under criminal activities about those who are responsible for the mess that is obtained in Manguang, in Maluti. But more than that, to say, in terms of the Municipal Systems Act, Section 106, we have developed processes, we have appointed the team that is investigating all the irregularities, maladministration going forward from the department. And the administrators are fired by people who are supposed to be in the ICU. A municipality placed under Section 1391B, it means it's under ICU. But in Maluti-A-Phofung, it is really needed, it's business as usual. And for me, it becomes worrisome when there is no proper and straightforward intervention from the department, from the administrator. My view is that please address us on these particular issues, because for us are very, very serious matters that needs to be given a proper and deserving attention. And as we said, I think out of this meeting, the committee is going to recommend that with speed, based on the regulations that are in place, that we need to be summoned to Maluti-A-Phofung specifically, to go and fully understand the views of everybody that is involved, even people who it is, to understand fully what is happening, so that we must be in that particular municipality. Please just respond to all of these questions as posed by the honorable members of parliament, and based on that, we are going to chart a way forward about what is it that we need to do. Over to you, Honorable MEC.
No, thanks, Chairperson, and the members. Chairperson, may I please just take this issue out of my way? You remember when you indicated that we had not informed on the 7th of the first month, 17 minutes to 9, an email was sent to you the same time it was sent to the minister and the provincial legislature. It was sent to an email lgiani@parliament.gov.za. I just request, Chair, to take note of that. Of course, we did also send information that indicates that we did try to send. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Okay, no, it's okay. Let's bury it. We'll solve it.
No, thanks, Chairperson. And I must also welcome your strong words, Chair, on cautioning us and encouraging us to adhere to the law. And Chair, if I may start on the comrade, sorry, serious hard worker, and you would know that we did report that the presidency wanted him from the 1st of January. We requested, he did a good and a sterling job. And then Mr. Amos also did a good job. He was working with Mr. Lufatula and the entirety of the team. But I fell short, Chair, when I said there was a tussle, and we resolved that tussle in trying to explain to all people involved that, remember, you are here in a workplace environment. It's not about any one of you. It's about to visit Maluti-A-Phofung. And then you can then attest to some of the issues that we're raising. But there's a serious personal, and on my intervention, I implored everybody to be calm and then attend to issues of the community. So there's a personality problem. You would see even there would be differences in a working environment. It's normal. There would be misinterpretation or different conceptualization of certain issues, which is normal, which is what I said to them, that if you don't agree on something else, please sort out a different opinion somewhere so that at least you have an understanding. So I think easy, it was not smooth sailing, but to a large extent, we did try to salvage the municipality. The issue of electricity, because we wanted a whole city. So we have, and I can say, Chair, honestly, from my understanding, the problem of electricity in Maluti-A-Phofung cannot be solved by 139. It will be solved by the functional municipality, and the solution is in the master plan. And in all other interactions we've had with Eskom and every other party attending, the illegal connection does not only account to residents when an audit was done into those areas, that issues been addressed, and we are still seeing fruits, even if they are not such big results. But at least there's an end of the light advice that whilst you have the hawks in the municipality, you also have SIU. Wouldn't it be duplication and wastage of resources to put another investigation in usage of the same and be presented? But our view was that, can we please be furnished or at least abreast about the progress of the SIU and the hawks, other than to further bring another forensic investigation in an already clearly. The consultative committee, I said in all those meetings, interactions with the business progress and want to bring their part. Oh, it's not illegal, it's not irregular, it's legal. It was, and also adherence to, I take Honorable Chair on your comment on the subject, is where the commencement of the appointed candidates takes place, whether is it before concurrence or is it after concurrence, MEC concur, or before the MEC concur, they cannot commence. So that has not been clearly defined, and it has not been such a big issue in essence, because there's no clear, you are raising it as a serious point, and I've noted before we can commence work. It's through the income in the municipality other than the residential is established on that still generate revenue and for people to be paying correct. The report of Mr. Lefatula was reports every month, and I present them to the executive and create a common report, because in every content there's a context. So the administrator, of course, would generate a report. We deploy very competent, independent people who are engaging robustly on the kind of work they are doing. And that's the kind of people we deploy, because we don't want to mislead ourselves and get reports that are rousy or any other thing. So that's how we receive reports. But in certain instances, they from taking understanding of all other sectors that are there. The Izinyoka part, the illegal connection, is part of the Eskom is dealing with the large power users, 100 of them at the moment, and then would replace where there's been tampering and fix them. But you really need to undo that process seriously, because there's a serious illegal connections and it's not working well with the municipality. The municipality has to pay these exorbitant amounts, and people who are faceless are the ones utilizing the electricity recklessly. And there was no pressure that I had to succumb to from any other level. I mean, I work with the team, we work closely with the team, and we discuss. No one gives directives to anyone. We engage robustly on issues so that we all together own up to the product, each product that we go to. The Eskom debt is still under discussions with us, and we've engaged in the first round with Eskom. I've explained that we even took a decision as an executive with the Premier's directive that we need to find a way to help Maluti-A-Phofung to pay Eskom, but also to apply for NMD. So Eskom did indicate, they even gave me a quotation on what is it that the is busy with that issue, and it will respond, but it remains a big issue. We still want to discuss with Eskom because the penalties are so huge, and we must find an amicable solution to that issue. It is no longer a problem. There is no one who's under threat. The one in Maluti-A-Phofung, but in Maluti-A-Phofung there's no problem. So because of personality issues, that's where the problem is here. MM and the CFO, the HOD wrote a letter to say that increase must be reversed immediately. It is irregular. It is not in line with the MFMA, and so they've acceded to that. So we did attend to that issue. The employees of the municipalities structure is bloated. It's true, honorable members. Amounts, some were even called assistant general workers. So there's a huge problem on that, and that was not only the other problem was that other people were then promoted illegally, and then their salaries were hiked. So the team is dealing to address that and do that work. And in the report I received from the Auditor General, where the Auditor General accounts on the work that is done in the Free State on the performance of municipalities does acknowledge that putting systems in place, control measures in place. So I'm saying that's why I derive my understanding and my close interaction with the municipality. The terms of reference, they are there, they've been there. And it's true, I agree with you, Chairperson. It's not the first time we make an intervention, they've been there. And then the state law advised that let us review all terms of reference. And we established that to a large extent, certain terms of reference, that terms of reference, we must review them so that we are able to pronounce properly. So we are working with them on those bases. And that's why it is not difficult for the administrator in Maluti-A-Phofung to understand that you cannot be a signatory in the bank when there's a CFO and the MM as the accounting office. You get the MM as the accounting officer, you take the CFO out of the bank, you put the administrator. You have it in Mafubi. They are not in the bank. There are systems put in place to account. And we are very serious about fiduciary responsibility. So I think this issue is not a big issue, except that there's a personality problem, and that's why we are where we are. So we are reviewing terms of reference leadership. We would indicate to you once we are done with them, because we drafted a long time ago. There's a lot of developments at the moment. And it would be no stage. Those are the issues I wanted to raise. I take no time of Ntatele Fatul. It is still continuing that turnaround strategy, and it is doing well. We have the financial recovery plan, which is also started then, and currently it is doing well. That's why Treasury, it is really, if you are raising, Chair, we will really attend to them and then report to you. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. We have explained to us as a last parting shot, the Troika, whether in a view, is the Troika doing what to you, Honorable Mayor? Honorable Mayor, running out of time. One, we are going to ask my team in the office to facilitate the report with all the recommendations about what needs to happen. In the meantime, I will engage with my principals, both the House Chair, the Free State, and deal with these particular issues quite a week or two. And that I will accordingly brief you about what is it that we need to do in this particular issue. But what is key is that we must get the report based on our discussions we've got to do in Manguang, in Maluti, as well as in. And I take this opportunity to thank you very much for attending this meeting and engaging in the discussions we're doing. I must say that this is a very, very difficult work to be accomplished, but also take the opportunity to thank all the municipalities, the mayors, as well as Eskom. Eskom in the Free State is always with us. It responds quite timelessly. Eskom is sharing to us very, very useful information about what is, and it is in the interest of the country as well that Eskom is stable way so that it succeeds, because I invite her on a very short notice and she responded accordingly. Also take this opportunity to thank Honorable Smith, who's always, which we would love to engage with the provincial legislatures portfolio committee in the Free State so that we compare notes, we share information about what is happening and how we can, so that at the end of the day, all of us succeed in relation to what we need to do to solve the problems of municipalities in the Free State. With that, honorable members, let me once more, your commitment, how you spend time, your sacrifices, I think, and thank you very much. That is the Eastern Cape, Limpopo, and I know that we go on recess. And with that, I really want to thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, my chair.
Thank you, my chair.